had to go to the small lineup. It wasn't a good sign because you didn't have many alternatives. Today you went to the small lineup, and it seemed to really work for you. Can you just talk about the game that Morgan had?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a variety of ways that you can play. And if you have the, if you have the people and you have the ability to do it, there's just some games where that's what's needed, And I do believe that we have options. We have a way to put lineups on the floor that give the other team something different. Every game's different. Every game calls for something different, and you have to have the ability, I think, if you want to be a really good team, to accommodate what that game needs.
Morgan was a really good big rise in the first half and a little bit in the second too. Just what's impressive the most about her ability to jump in, especially she had 10 practices before the season started?
Yeah, I thought she did what she normally does when she's at practice, and that is she's able to impact the game. I mean, I always, I use that word a lot, impact the game. It can happen a lot of different ways, but her activity level is what I really like, and it forces the other team to have to defend a different kind of player than, Jenna and Ice. So it serves a lot of purpose. They have to change the way they play defense. We get more active. We get, she has great instincts. And it's who she is. I mean, she just played to her true self today. There's a lot more. There's a lot more that she can do. I think the fouls have to stop on her end. That'll give her more minutes. She had 4 today, which is not going to be acceptable. But she does so many good things to help us that she's going to get more minutes as we move along here.
Coach, obviously you're looking a lot from your bigs inside. At the end of the second quarter, you had an extended conversation with Jenna, and it looked like you two weren't on the same page. Could you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, she was trying to figure out what I meant by her next move after she hands the ball off or after she sets a screen, and she was describing a situation that was out there involving her and Paige. That Paige wanted one thing. Jenna thought she wanted something different. So just trying to clear up some confusion. I think Jenna's a big target, that the more we get her moving in the lane, the more people have to pay attention to that. So, yeah, every once in a while I am on the same page with these players. Doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it happens.
Ransom came into this game averaging 21 a game. You guys held her to 7 and 2 field goals. I mean, just what did you think worked so well about the defensive effort, especially on her?
We're trying to make a point that players are much easier to guard when they don't have the ball than after they get it, especially good offensive players. So the focus was limiting how many touches, and then having a pretty good idea where she wanted to go, and making sure that we had the right coverage, which we didn't do such a great job of that in our previous game. So we really made it a point, and I thought Caitlin and KK, especially those two, I thought did a terrific job defensively.
Coach, more on Georgetown. Just they met you in the championship of the Big East Conference Finals last year. New coach. Can you just talk about how you've seen that program grow and kind of what Coach Haney brings to the conference in terms of coaching acumen?
Yeah, I think they surprised a lot of people last year. If you said to anybody before the Big East tournament, hey, the final game is going to be Connecticut and Georgetown, I think a lot of people would have been a little skeptical, but they play really hard defensively. They play at a pace that makes you have to play at their pace. So, they're not an easy team to get them out of their pace, and I think their coaching staff does a great job of putting them in position offensively to take advantage of their strengths. I think the program a few years back was under constant change, constant flux. Nobody really had an idea what direction they were going in, who was coaching, who wasn't coaching. And I do believe that, out of something really tragic, something came out of it that's turned out to be really, really good. Obviously, they're not the same team they were last year, and they were even missing a couple guys today. But they're not an easy team to play against in our league, for sure.
Geno, can you talk about where Sarah was, say, day one, now that she's played 10 games? What's the difference in her game, her approach, or anything? And what are the most important things, say, if you want to divide things into the next 10 games? And I have a follow-up when you're done.
The preseason for her was mostly a finding her way, not wanting to be assertive or aggressive, not wanting to do more, always trying to do just enough to blend in. And through, her success, conversations about what we need from her, I think that the most evident factor right now is she doesn't hesitate. She wants the ball more often, and she tries to make something happen more often. There's a lot more left in Sarah. We've only barely scratched the surface of where I think she's going.
And what was it like having Carla here coming up, to watch Caitlin play? And she also has a couple ex-players in the Georgetown program.
Yeah. There was a play down the other end where there was a foul call, and I turned around and I gave her a dirty look, Carla. And I was told that the foul wasn't on Caitlin, that it was on Sarah. So I had to apologize for that one. But then when Caitlin threw a fly ball to left field out of nowhere, that one I did turn around, and by that time Carla had ducked and was hiding under one of the seats. They have a special relationship, Caitlin and Carla. Obviously they've been through a lot, won a lot of big games. I have so much respect for her and what she's done, and I know she's really proud of Caitlin coming here and having the impact that she's had. So I'm a big Carla Bruni fan, obviously.
Ice was on the bench for long stretches today. Just what were you seeing from her, and where are you trying to get her to at this point?
Well, it's not what I was seeing from her. It's what I was seeing from Morgan. And I, based on practices recently, I just made a commitment that I'm going to get Morgan more playing time. However that works out, that's the way it works out. And today, that's how it worked out. You know, the object of every kid that steps on the floor, comes to practice, plays in a game, whatever the case may be, is that they have an identity. This is who I am, and this is what I bring every single day. Right? So you look at somebody like Caitlin or KK or, you know, Ash. This is what I bring. This is who I am. You can count on me to do this every night. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be hard for you to get the success that you want.
You know, the next couple of games are against players who can really put a team in difficult spots down low. Do you have a sense of how your team's going to respond to that type of challenge?
Actually, I don't. I don't have a sense. Every game's different. Every team poses a different problem. Iowa State, obviously, everyone knows what their greatest strength is, and they're very good at playing through that strength. So how we prepare for them will probably have to be different than how we prepare for you know, the USC game. Two different players, two different teams that, you know, have a lot of attention paid to them. But mostly, I think it's about imposing your will and saying, this is how we're going to play, this is what we're going to do, and then see what you can limit, you know. And the more things that you can limit, great, but you have to get a lot of things accomplished on your end in order to win, you know, these next two games especially.
Following up on that, just what are your impressions on how Audie's playing this season?
On who?
Audie?
I wish we had her. Let's put it that way. There's just a presence, obviously, that she has, that when she, you know, she comes down the floor, it's a problem for every team that they play. You know, I don't care who the other team has, they're going to have a problem with her. And that's what I was talking about. Like, you have to know who you are, you have to know what you bring, and then you have to deliver that every single night. And she does. And she's young, right? She's, you know, I think this is her second year, right? So it hasn't taken her long to, you know, get acclimated to college basketball. But when you have what she has, it's something that very few people in the country have. So she's a difference maker, as they say.
7 different players make a 3 tonight. Just coming out of Notre Dame, how much do you feel like this kind of helped everybody's confidence reset?
Yeah, it's funny because how many we get today? 22. We got 22 threes. I like to get. That's about a third of our shots. That's about right. You know, that's about right. So I worry when we don't get them. Like the other night, we didn't get them. Right? I'd rather get them and miss them than not get them. And I like the fact that we can spread it around a little bit. I thought we shot it poorly early on from the three-point line, but we have to take them, and we have to be aggressive with it, and we have to get more of them in our half-court sets. You know, we get some in transition, but we have to get more of them in our half-court sets. So we're working hard on that. But that's the other thing, you put Morgan out on the floor for more minutes. It's a smaller lineup, but it's also another shooter that the defense has to contend with.
Geno, can you talk a little bit more about Sarah the composure she plays with. She never looks lost. She never looks flustered, frazzled out there. You see that, you don't see that a lot in freshmen. She just looks like she's always ready for the moment.
Yeah, you don't see that very often in young players. Sometimes the game is too fast for them, and they can't show their real skills. The game is slow for her. You know, some people just have that innate ability to do that. She's very confident and very comfortable with her game, with who she is, and she knows exactly what she's good at. She knows exactly what she wants to do for the most part, and very rarely is she caught in a bad spot or, you know, has the ball in her hands, like, and, you know, something bad happens. I mean, she missed a couple layups today, which she never misses. But she's, again, I think if we're going anywhere with this team this year, she has to be a big part of it, and she's okay with that, you know. And we were talking earlier about, if you look back at the best teams we've ever had, there was a great presence in the middle. There was a great presence on the wing, and there was a great presence, you know, at the guard spot. And if you have those three things, then I think you put yourself in a position to have a lot of success. And obviously Sarah's a big part of that.
Is Paige doing anything this year that you didn't know she could do? Obviously, she's been around long enough. You've seen it pretty much all. Is anything come out of her bag of tricks? You know, she had 24 today, a couple big blocks in that sequence, and turned that game around quickly. But are we just so used to it at this point?
I think she did today what I want her to do more of, just take that little pull-up coming off those screens and handoffs. And I thought the other night she was forcing to try to get to the free throw line. So she was taking shots that were really difficult to make and wasn't getting the calls anyway. So it backfired tremendously. And I thought today she didn't over penetrate and put herself in a problem situation. But as far as, you know, what is she doing that I didn't know she could do? I mean, I've seen her do it all, right? I mean, I've seen her since freshman year, and she's just more vocal this year, which is really good. That's helped a lot. You know, it's helped the other players a lot. But if we can keep getting her the kind of touches that we gave her today, then I think she's going to do exactly what she did today.
Anything else?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.